What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode recording at DTYDT. Uh, Today I'm gonna be talking about what I want to talk about. So, first, I'm a man of God. Second, I'm not my beliefs and ideas. So, when my beliefs and ideas don't fit anymore, I remove them and replace them with new ones that fit. Right? On the show, I'm starting today with a guest, finally, other than being off of Instagram. Right? I got Makita with me. She's off screen. Uh, for different reasons. Now it's none of y'all business. Feel me? Makita, say what's up.
What's up?
So I really wasn't struggling to know what I was gonna talk about, but I think I was already thinking like we going through enough to know what to talk about. We just don't know that this is what people want to know, right? And that's something about deeper than you don't think. There's a lot of things that most of us go through, suffer through, or even tough it out through, where we don't even see some of the other components that can actually not have us in those repetitive cycles and those moments of being uh, self-destructive or self-sabotaging, as you would say. you know but with all that to say, right, one of the reasons that I decided to do it with her off camera, just like she's been working on getting on streaming, and not that kind of streaming, if y'all be thinking about that kind of streaming,
That's right.
right? Gaming and stuff like that. And it's something that she always wanted to do, and that's something that also resonated with me. And not only that it resonated with me, like I said, there's a lot of us out there, there's a lot of things that we always wanted to do, and maybe it wasn't deemed beneficial, or like other people didn't look at it in the perspective or light that you always have. So we will put that aside. So tell me about your experience with this streaming thing. Like, what be going through in your mind? And matter of fact, let's start like this. How long have you wanted to stream and like be part of the gaming community like that, or just be part of your community in that area? How long have that been like a urge for you?
hmm I would say since around 2016 when I first bought my Xbox. But the thing is, when you're too afraid to hear what people think about what you like, you end up procrastinating until
Until what?
until you just forget about it. You're like, forget it. I'll just do something else. But are you happy with that other thing that you're gonna do? And that's the fight I've been going through for these past couple of years. Until I'm like, you know what? Why am I letting anxiety stop me from doing what I want to do?
Hmm. How did you know it was anxiety?
Mm, the self-deprecating thoughts.
That was keeping you from doing the thing.
Yeah. The lies I would tell myself. No one would like my content.
Right?
I'm just a regular girl.
And it would be from voices of people that you already know.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So the familiarity of what people have told us formed a way of thinking for us that we listen to a lot, that deprive us of actually experiencing a lot of things that we do want to experience. Right? And that thing is crippling. You know, and reason why I brought that up is because in times like this, when people wanna, you know, uh, the R word and the recession. I don't know if I could say that, but if I can't, whatever. I mean, stuff like that, and when things aren't really going good, not only just around in the house or the neighborhood, but you know, in your work life, in your education life, like for some reason we catch on to some of the cycles, but we don't look or even question deep enough in the cycles that we go through in all of those too, because even our decisions to deprive ourselves of things that we do want to do or things that we do want to go after out there in the world, that's another pattern that we take from ourselves and we take it out there, and that's how we operate in the real world, right? So for people out there that, you know, thinking that the opportunity of another, and nothing wrong with it, but just to keep this in mind, or if you're already in this area of like you were living off the success of someone else, and that could be another company that's not under your name, um, wherever your income is coming from, basically they're in charge of that, because if there's somebody better than you in that area, there's no problem replacing you. But for you to replace your income, why is that a problem?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It take longer, right? So we have to understand there are other things out there that we neglect that can actually push us further and help us through other areas of our life, instead of us thinking like all these things happening around us is happening to us. If we come out with the mindset of like, yo, it's happening for me, because in a sense, if you want to go somewhere and you end up not being able to go where you want to go, we will think like, yo, I'm not even supposed to be here. I was supposed to be there. But you're here right now. So why can't we be in the moment and be like, okay, what was this redirecting me to? We will spend hours, maybe even days and months harboring this thing because we didn't get to go to the place that we thought we wanted to go. But what about where you needed to be, right? How focused are we on being instead of getting there or going there, right? So in a time like this, what are we focused on even though we may be in a loss? How are we thinking about things when it seems like the familiar voices are telling us the exact same thing that we do see in front of us that's maybe the problem, right? Why are we listening to problems anymore when we supposed to be looking for solutions, right? And we can't go out there and blame people and things and circumstances, because after all of that, who is still making the decision,
I think so.
right? We are making these decisions, so why don't we think more on those decisions instead of the circumstances? Because when we focus on the circumstances, we just focused on not having a situation happening. Now we focused on not having a situation happen. Imagine the things that we're missing out on,
Mm-hmm.
right? We could just jump fast forward through a story. If there isn't someone to come and tell Makita, like, yo, you know the amount of things you can get out of this streaming thing, like, not even get out of it. First, You get confidence. Not even get confidence. You build up the confidence you already had. Right. You just needed a certain way to bring it out. You know what I mean? Also your character. You know, you also get to know yourself a little more by rewatching these streams and these videos of how you are when you are in your area of what you want to do. You know, after that, out of that, you don't know what other companies you can build out of that just by understanding your character and exploring things that you really want to do. It may not seem beneficial, but out of that, you can end up owning a whole media company from streaming. You don't know what the idea could come from.
That's true.
You know, but you don't want to go work for another company. Not saying you don't want to go. Of course, you can go pick up some skills, but that's somebody else having the opportunity or the right to fire you. We don't want that now. Right? So, getting into, you know, when you finally, you know, got on and stuff like that, what was the next challenge after getting on? Let me see if you remember, because we talked about this just recently.
My next challenge, it was definitely hearing my own voice and being okay with the fact that I may not like it, but other people might.
And like, why would you think? Why would one of the major thoughts be other people's not gonna like my voice? There's so many voices out there. There's so many streamers. Not only just streamers, a lot of people would put videos and stuff out there.
True.
Right?
Mhm.
So you see how we would magnify some of these things that actually is that we use as crutches, you know?
To never start anything.
Right?
Mhm.
And once we start something, we have to get used to being consistent.
Right.
You know this.
Right. If you don't get in that flow, you might end up stopping what you want to do.
So why would we stop doing something that we want to do?
There are many reasons. One could be low self-esteem.
Right, and these is our reasons that
Right.
we're sharing.
Right.
So
Just to make sure I'm not speaking for other people.
it's me too. So
Low self-confidence.
mm-hmm.
It could be as simple as focusing on what you need instead of looking at the things around you, what you already have.
Mm-hmm. Also for me, that was the same thing when it came to this podcast. Like, look where it's at right now. Look at us. Well, look at me right now. Look at the, you know, these was things, like, you don't even want to see the room. These was things that I would look at in a sense before I even attempted to, you know, to do anything. And I'm like, okay, I need the right computer, or a certain type of camera, and right in front of my face, I got a cell phone. So I do take notes. I just don't. I know what I want to talk about or the conversations that I do have, but you know, and there's always the but or because, and I'm like, yo. After that trip we took to Atlanta,
Yep.
I was like, nah, it's over for that. When I came home, I was just like, after being so far away from home, or being away from where I used to lay my head, because there's something about being in an atmosphere when you've been there too long you start to be comfortable in some of the not only the crutches but our inability to actually be more productive, right? We like to a lot of us like to be in these dark corners a lot, and that to a lot of us meaning a lot of me. So being away, it gave me more of like, okay, when I go back home, something got to be different. You know, I may not be coming back with money or anything, but it's just something that you know. So maybe there are things that we can do or certain leaps of faith because that trip was a leap of faith. I had no money. I had no money. Whatever I had was just stuck in stocks. Had no money. End up on a Greyhound bus, and even though, Lord, even though, and let's talk about that. I was gonna cut this a little bit short, but let's go through that process because even though that trip was life changing for us,
Mhm.
even though it was simple,
Yeah.
so simple, there was some things on that trip that was just like, nah. First of all, this was like the like a little bit after the pit of the the corona the beer coming in, right? The beer coming in, coming in. I was just like, we already know what the news and the stories is like in New York.
Mhm.
But on the way there, on the Greyhound, on the Chinese bus on the way there, what was going through your mind on the way there in the process? Mind you, we had to make stops like 18, 22 stops.
A lot. It was
Oh my
plenty.
gosh! So what was the process on the way there? Like first, when we left home to the first till we get to the bus, what was that process?
Okay. Well, first it was exciting, right? Because we're taking a leap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we good, traveling to get the bus, but things just felt different. The atmosphere was different. It was like we stepped into something new. So I'm saying that because there were many situations that we have went through
Mm-hmm.
that we wouldn't have been able to experience if we just stayed in one place.
Yeah.
So it opened my mind a lot. But anxiety was a huge thing for me.
And you didn't know that at that time. You didn't. I don't think you knew what anxiety was at that time.
Nope.
Same for me too as well because. But anyways, right. Getting into the anxiety part now. After the excitement and it's like, oh, feeling the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
But now the anxiety started to hit that which part now? Like,
We're on the bus.
mm-hmm.
We leave the state. I'm looking out the window. I'm like, damn. I'm a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
It's only us two. No offense. I don't fight. I don't like to argue. I'm not the type to. What's the right word? To put myself in a position to feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So when I did that, it was like,
I know what you talk about. But, okay, not but. This is the reason why. And also, like, on the way there were a lot of remarks and certain things that were coming out where you weren't aware of how these things were kind of part of the anxiety and how you were responding to your anxiety
mm-hmm.
when these things were going on.
True.
Because even that, in my mind, when that was going on, I'm just like, I may have to fight somebody. So it's like, even though you trying to be like, yo, I was just like, nah, I really gonna have to because we not even from out here.
Right.
And it's just like, so I'm like, and for me now to even not be like tapping my thing or be tight, I was also in my own realm, in my own world of what this trip meant for me. So in my mind, I was more of like, nah, so I gotta stay more than positive, on the way there and the way back. And I wasn't on my way back yet, but on the way there because I'm like, yo, I know at a certain point it's just like I'm going to go home and I don't want to start that, you know? And it's so crazy because that situation had also opened my eyes in different ways too, other than just the social media thing. But other than the sad parts of going through and seeing the people in the streets and the people just don't know, like I didn't even understand, but it was really heavy.
Yeah.
Like I was wanted to cry when I was out there, like, yo, what are they?
Yep.
You know? So I was like, but at the point at the bus when that situation was, I had my own little, you know, it was like, other than you not being able to hear me and that's because I already knew what was going on. You weren't aware.
Yeah.
So like, other than that, it was just like, it was a situation that transpired where you know how dudes is, and y'all dudes know with the regular dudes who just be in certain places. They don't be in a corner. They always be hanging out somewhere. They regular spot. They talking to shorty. They want to talk to shorty. So I see a dude talking to her, and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna go over there and tell, cause like I Holy Spirit was working through me since all the way back there because I'm walking and I walked in and I seen him because when I walked outside, I went outside to take a smoke. Like I triple double think that, and then I still went out there and still do it. But when I went out, I heard dude talking like, "Oh, yo, I seen this little cute little farm thing or somewhere in that area." So I already knew what he was talking about, you know. And mind you, this is I think it was in North or South Carolina, whichever this was. Right? We out in New York. We from New York, so I already know how that goes because I've seen it so many times in New York. I heard it in classrooms so many times. Like I already know how that stuff goes. So I'm like, he couldn't be talking about Makita, like whatever. So I'm outside, and I spent a couple more minutes. And when I came in, I seen him standing there in front of her, and she was sitting down. So I was gonna go and be like, "Yo, watch out," but I was like, "Nah." On my way over there, I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna play it humble." So I went, I sat down calmly, and I crossed my legs, and I waited. So all I heard was, "No," and I didn't hear her, but I knew she said, "That's my boyfriend." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, sometimes you got to use a family member, and sometimes you can use the boyfriend, right? You got to know the difference sometimes knowing the situation. And I'm like, yo, I'm really going to have to rock it out with people because this is not going down out here. I'm just going to tell her, walk out the bus station and just like wait out there for me. I'm about to, know what I mean? But moving past that, it was just like, okay, even being that calm and all those things was going through my mind, I was thinking also like, yo, I also have to be strategic here because, man, this is a long way from home. And she's little. And mind you, other than that, dude was sitting there and it was people around. And that's the thing that really opened my mind where there was people around and it wasn't like, yo, chill, no. You know, it was enough people around there to be like, all right, yo, chill out or back up. For some reason, I'm like, yo, that could have been really a roast off moment where dude was taking advantage of a girl and everybody just stood there and watched. Like, imagine if she was alone.
Yep, exactly.
I started thinking like, yo, I gotta go back home. My cousins and my sisters, all of them gotta learn self-defense because out here is wicked. And then it's, and I'm not saying it's anything with any racial animosity or anything against my own people, but it's just like, yo, this is not what we do. It's either that, and in my mind, wasn't thinking at that time. They're not just aware of this. They're not aware of certain different, kind of people. So wherever life or view they were living, they were in that. So like I didn't really take account for that. I was just on defense mode from there, and trying to be the most logical as I can, you know. But you wanna explain anything on that in that area, from that part?
Um, oh, I would say that it opened my mind so much because I did not realize how different people are, aside from people in New York. Like, it shocked me so much. Like, it changed my view. And I realized that I really have to learn to discern situations.
Learn to discern. Ah, I think I got the title. You got the title. Learn to discern. We ain't gonna give y'all a little tea. I'm gonna just. You got anything else you wanna add? Anything else you wanna talk about?
I'm gonna talk about it.
You talk we ain't gonna give it too much. You know, we gotta let them consume this. Like, gotta make it sure.
True.
So we're gonna have a lot for y'all coming up. So if you really love that, trust me, you're gonna love what's to come up next. I'm looking to have more guests on. Alright. So if you guys like this, right? If there was something that really helped you in this, if you thought about somebody while watching this that you think they can get some help from this, make sure you share this to them. Make sure y'all drop a like, drop a comment. You got any questions? Alright, make sure y'all shoot. Alright. This is P. This is P. This is the blooper that I'm not gonna exit out. This needs to be here. This is DTYDT. I'm signing out. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Alright. Got Makita over here with me. And we saying peace.